them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay. Here are my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. We got a few topics for you guys today. A lot's happening. We got Lies of P reviews coming out. We got Jedi Star Wars, Jedi Survivor getting updates. Starfield, of course. Mortal Kombat 1 got some reviews out for some in-progress stuff. We got a State of Play that was announced. Nintendo Direct. Switch 2 rumors. i15 Pro running games. Plenty to talk about. But we're going to get into it as usual. Just before we do all of that, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you doing, how you been, what you've been playing, what you've been up to, how's life going. Inform the people.
Yeah, y'all know me. Always trying to clear through my backlog. Last game I started was Armored Core 6. Since I've beaten it twice so far. I'm finishing up my third through now. Really, it's I don't mind doing the New Game Plus stuff just because like every time once you do get the New Game Plus, it has different missions with different story that wasn't available in the first playthrough. And it gives you still new weapons and stuff in the store. So I've just been going through collecting everything on different final boss as well. So the third playthrough is going to have the third and final true ending. So I'm going to do that. But yeah, overall, really solid game. One of my favorite Armored Cores. And I'll probably keep playing it for a while. I haven't done any PvP stuff just because like I don't really feel like I'm interested in right now. But people seem to like it. Other than that, trying to play Starfield whenever I get the chance, and we'll talk about it later. But it's really good. Like I liked it last week when I played it a bit, but since then and like really getting like diving into it and getting immersed into it, I see what's like really great about it. I don't think it's for everybody, and it does have issues, but it's definitely so far one of my favorite like space exploration games that I've played. But well, it has some stuff that I don't like as well, but we'll talk about it later.
All right, yeah, for sure. Say that for later. Family's okay? Everything's good?
Oh yeah, we're like I said before, a birthday coming up, but the weather is really hot still. Even though the summer is winding down, it's gonna be a hot fall. But yeah, everybody's here good. We got a walker now. She's moving around the house. We have to redo the living room, so she got more space.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep. Get ready to redo a lot of stuff. But yeah, the walking is a big deal. We ain't got to talking yet, but they pretty much there. Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's a major step for real. What about you, Jalen? You babyless man? How you been? How you doing? What you been up to?
Man, I just love to hear about y'all baby stories, man. Shoot, I ain't been up to nothing though, man. I just been chilling. Same old. Like I said, playing Sea of Stars a little bit. Other than that, just trying to stay active and continue traveling and stuff like that. So even though I ain't really been traveling, like nothing extravagant, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it ain't a whole lot new this way. Yeah, nothing major, stuff like that. So I'll probably slide somewhere on Friday.
Okay.
More flights.
More missions. Got it. Okay, that's fun. Well, me, I just been playing a ton of Starfield. I ain't really been playing nothing else. I'm like, what? I don't know. I got like 45 hours now on it, but I don't really know what that means because I feel like I ain't played most of this game yet. I only played like 10% of it. So it really doesn't feel like I've done much, but I've played a lot of hours, and I think that's just me exploring all the other stuff that it has to offer, all the mechanics, all of the storylines and trying to figure out other things. It's just a lot to figure out, but at the same time, it's enjoyable. So it's not like it's just a chore. It's just kind of like you're just going through the motions of figuring stuff out. But again, finally got my first outpost out. Finally, first built my first ship. Really starting to explore the stars and kind of run into some of their, pre-made content that's not, that's not a part of the beaten path. So there's just a lot of that. It's just a ton of stuff to do in this freaking game. So I've been playing it a lot. I've been enjoying it a lot. And again, we're going to probably jump right into that because it's fresh on my mind after introductions. But outside of that, family's good. They're great. They're getting bigger, stronger, faster, more obnoxious. They love to. At this point, they're I don't know where they're getting it from, but they're literally starting to yell at each other. And then I think it's not yell, but like almost yell attack. It's kind of like they are a little bit more aggressive than I anticipated. But yeah, they are some interesting fellas for sure. But yeah, they're good. Wife's good. Job's good. It's just more so now finding time to play Starfield and stuff. So other games are coming out, so it's going to be tougher for me to keep my attention. But honestly, it may keep it for a minute. But as I mentioned before as we were kind of getting started, we talking Starfield. It's like, no, we talking Starfield, but we got some other stuff to talk about as well. But we're going to get right into that because I got a lot to say, and I'm trying to set a precedent for everybody that may not want to play this game or may not understand it, so that way you guys can get more of an understanding of where I'm coming from with the game and where I stack it for this year, because it's an important topic for a lot of people, I guess, because some people really feel like it's mid, some people feel like it's great, some people feel like it was average. So trying to figure that out too. So where shall we begin with the good old Starfield? Where should we begin? Let's start where they start. I guess let's start with the story. I don't want to spoil anything, so I guess I'll kind of have a conversation around what the story does and what it does well. I think what it does well to me is it gives you a structure for the expansive world that it is. It really doesn't give you a lot of clues on what to do next. It just gives you a path to follow. And if you choose to follow that path, you will be rewarded in a sense of levels. That's it. And I don't believe it does much else to keep a structure outside of just leveling. And I'm trying to say that, but it's in a good way. It's not like the story is bad. You're going to be entertained by it. It's more so about being pulled in so many different directions that you kind of get overwhelmed to the point where you have like a guiding light. You know how Zelda, it just kind of gives you that feeling of, yeah, you can go run and do everything that they have on the map, but you can also do those main missions and the main objectives. It gives you a sense of direction on where to go next, but literally the journey is getting there. So that's how it kind of felt for me, where Starfield kind of planted a flag of, yeah, we got this story here, we got these characters, we got these people that's going to be around you, interacting with you a lot, but truly that is just a marker point. Everything else surrounding it is truly what the meat and potatoes is, because that is just really what you're going to be doing constantly. If you're going to be fighting, ship battles, if you're going to be outposting, you're going to be looking for earning money, you're going to be dealing with vendors, you're going to be managing your freaking inventory, whatever that is surrounding the building blocks of that story it's like the meat and potatoes, while this story here is just the kind of like the icing on the cake. It does not take you through the ebbs and flows of how this game works. It just tells you where to go next. Hopefully that makes sense. I think people will get it if they kind of put it towards the same thing of Zelda. That's why I keep trying to reference it, because Zelda does the same thing, where you don't necessarily have to go down that beaten path or continuously just go to all of the phenomenons or whatever and just kind of work through those cities. You can do everything else around it, and you can meet people, you can figure out new things, and you don't really have to just go straight to this, straight to that, because you're not really playing the game in the best way. Which kind of threw a wrench in how I play it, because everybody kept saying, well, the new game plus is something like you'll want to get there and then start exploring. I'm just like, well, why? If the game is fun on its own in this regard, why do I need to rush through the game to get to this part? And maybe it's just my lack of understanding because I haven't gotten there yet, but I just feel like I'm having a lot of fun just doing the things surrounding the story, that I don't really feel like I have to go rush through it. And maybe you have some more insight on that, Josh, but right now, to me, it is simply the building, the building around. I mean, the story is just giving it the structure, but the building around it is like the entire game for me. That's the fun part. That's what I enjoy the most. Is just interacting with the world and seeing what I can get in trouble with, what I can do, and who I can help. It's just kind of like that. But what are your thoughts on the story so far and what it's doing for you?
Yeah, I saw people saying that the same thing. Like, for the game, you want to get to New Game Plus as soon as possible. But since then, I've been seeing people talk about it, and that's not the best way to play it. Mainly because New Game Plus, I'll just say, is rewarding. The reason that you want to get to New Game Plus is because what's there is new, and the game incentivizes you to maybe do multiple playthroughs or multiple endings to get more, get rewarded more.
Mm-hmm.
But people also said that I don't know. So something I haven't been able to confirm is do the quests change at all in New Game Plus? But it seems to be that some things might not be as freely available as they were in your first playthrough. So you don't actually want to rush everything, because some things might change in some ways that you might miss out on an experience once you get to New Game Plus. So how I've been playing it, I was gonna just do all the story quests and then go to New Game Plus and then explore, but now, and wasn't even intentional really. The game just I just gravitated towards certain things. I get to a planet, like the main quest tells me to go to the solar system, and I stop on Mars, and I do some quests on Mars, and then I just find out I like being on Mars. I like exploring. I like talking to people, doing quests. So I spent all my time on Mars, and then once I felt I'm good, then I left and I moved on to the next planet. So I feel like I'm gonna do that for a while. Because it feels the most fulfilling. I'm not being railroaded that I have to do these certain things. I can do it in any order I want. If there's nothing that I like on this place, then I'll just leave right away. I haven't done any of the I'll say fully free exploration, like flying around in space and going to the super end of the planets. Just following the quest.
Far away.
Yeah, but what I'll say is something I do like about it, and I like when other games do it as well, is when they have good, I'll say, progression. Because with a lot of open world games, it's kind of I'll just use Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, for example. We want you to go to the top north of the map, help this person, and then we want you to go to the bottom left of the map, and then go back to the top left of the map, you going all over the place. But at least it feels like with the quest design here, you'll be in the main city. And you'll pick up a couple quests that tell you to go to Mars, all right? And you go to Mars, and then you find a bunch of quests that are kind of not tied to each other, but they're in a similar area. So it's oh, we want you to go to Venus, but they've also given you other quests that also lead to Venus. So I feel like it's good progression where naturally, if you're just playing, you'll find a couple reasons to like follow these same quests to the same area. So it feels good because these are side quests that I don't have to do, but some of
Right.
them lead the same area or similar areas. So I feel like I'm accomplishing a lot by playing it
In that
just
way.
naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And so that's a bit of, I haven't played that much of the story. Like I said, I'm pretty early. I'm at level 10. I don't know how many hours I got, but I'm at level 10. Just doing quests and like sticking, I guess, to the big main planets.
Gotcha. No, that and I I would agree with that, and to a point where I am picking who I find interesting or storylines that I find interesting. Like I was just trying to go to a vendor and I was just trying to like sit at a bar and pretend like I was just role playing or something. I think I don't know what I was doing, but I was just sitting at the bar and I started talking to the bartender and I got into a whole quest about this bartender trying to make this perfect drink and this whole thing, and it ended up me trying to go and like steal back some cargo that she was trying to get on the. It just turned into a whole different thing than I'd expected, and I was just literally just trying to buy a drink and sit down at the bar and wait. I think I was trying to wait for time to go by or something like that. I don't remember what I was doing, but I like when they're just. I like how they introduced. Quests like to Bethesda, you walk by somebody and then you hear something and then you can go and do it. But I also like when they kind of just put something right in front of you and you're not expecting it. So I've had a few of those moments where I'm just, going about my day to day, and then I am interrupted or something is occurs that kind of causes me to take on this situation. Like even when I was landing on I think I was landing on a plane. I was coming out of a grav jump and I got like a signal on there and they told me to come down to the planet, and I went down to the planet and it turned into this whole thing about getting this group of people back together and all this good stuff. And it's just like random things happen. It's not random, but it feels as if the world is lived in and you're truly just exploring it. I love those moments. Now when they give me a quest and it's just like I heard a whisper, I may or may not pay attention because I'm not interacting with the person that may need help, because that whisper tells me to go somewhere to find out more, and I don't know who that individual is. So if I have an interaction, those quests probably get done before, and it's like a abundance of both. So I don't feel like I'm losing anything by not playing a certain way. I feel like they have built-in systems to make me feel okay playing it the way I'm playing it, and to make you feel okay playing it the way you're playing it, because they give you abundance of things to do. But then that doesn't touch on the ship building. That doesn't touch on outpost building. That doesn't touch on the actual gathering resources and doing like some of the civilian outposts. It doesn't touch on any of the wildlife or aliens. I literally haven't fought more than like 6 aliens. I don't see them that often, and I know they're in the game. But as I'm exploring the solar system, I can tell that they're gradually showing me that these areas get a little bit more hectic, a little bit more crazy as you kind of go throughout the solar system. So it is showing, as you stated, that level of progression as you kind of go and explore, and get your ship better to be able to jump to longer distances and all that good jazz. It's showing me that I'm being rewarded for exploring, as well as being rewarded for continuously just playing the game. The more, like you said, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So that's why I feel like I haven't touched anything, because I'm literally still on the first half of the solar system. I haven't went through anything else. I didn't do much, and I understand that they say there's 1,000 planets, but I feel like they can
I
curate
feel like
about yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say it's 1,000 planets, but I feel like I'm still in the area that's not generated. Like,
Yeah,
you know, some of the stuff might be generated, but I feel like I'm in the main areas.
no,
You know?
it feels like if they sprinkled enough around to make me feel like I'm not feeling as if I'm just playing that generated artificial gameplay. I feel like it's all kind of curated for me at the moment to a point where I understand, okay, this is a solar system, this is a location, this is a locale. Maybe if I'm landing on a desert planet that doesn't really have much, that makes more sense for it to be like, generated as you approach. But the ones that I feel like most of the stuff that I've been doing, I don't feel like I haven't felt any repeat anything yet. And I mean, I'm only 40 hours in, but I don't feel like I've repeated any type of quest. I haven't felt like I repeated any type of mining area. I haven't felt like I repeated any type of indoor area, because these indoor areas are massive, and as you explore them, you just get lost because you don't have a map truly, and they give you like a little small indicator of where to go next, like Dead Space, but it's not in a way where you are just maybe able to rush through it. So it always makes these places feel bigger than what they are. So it's just like, I don't know. They have a great formula to make the game fun and great at the same time. Obviously, it is flawed in a lot of ways. Right now, I found a bug where I can literally just go to a Aquila City, and right outside in this little puddle, I can steal all the merchant's items and sell it back to him, and he would know none the wiser. So there's like things out there like that, but there isn't anything game breaking to the point where I can't finish something or I can't complete a mission or anything like that. It's just all works right now. I'm not saying that can't change as I continue to explore, but right now everything is working and I'm not running into any major issues.
Mostly non-intrusive bugs. Like, even the bugs I've seen is people like getting stuck on geometry or doors.
Yeah.
But at least I've never had to like reload a save. It's always been able to progress. So that's good, because like in other games, if I'm playing Fallout and somebody gets stuck and they can't go in the door, it's like, oh well, restart, or they might be stuck there forever and this quest won't finish.
Yeah. So there is stuff like that I just haven't seen yet. But I'm not saying that it's not possible for it to happen. I'm just saying I have not seen that, and that bodes well for a Bethesda game in itself. But it's just really fun to just explore. I love taking pictures of my ship. I'm very happy with what I created, this behemoth of what I've done, and all the cargo space I have, and just exploring space in this way really truly fulfills something that I've been looking for quite a while. So I'm happy with the game. I think I can separate that from Game of the Year contender. There's a lot of people angry that the game is good, or they're angry that people are giving this game that type of nod. I don't know. I fall into the camp of this is probably the funnest game I've played all year, but there may be something else out there that may have provided more polish or more creativity or more divisive situations. I felt like I've had situations in this game where I was like, I don't know what to pick, because there may be a consequence to this, but there could be very much so, skin level deep and not really getting down to the bone tissue. So it's like, I don't know. Everybody's kind of, everyone is comparing this to Baldur's Gate 3 in their RPG elements. I kind of feel like if Starfield would have came out before Baldur's Gate 3, I think the story would have been a little bit different. Simply because Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and I don't want to compare these games because they're totally different. But Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and it showcased what dedication, time, and experience can do for the first act. And it sounds like the second and third may have needed some more time in the oven when it came to truly giving you a great experience. And I understand that what Baldur's Gate 3's Act 1 was like in beta for what, 7 years or 3 years or something like that. I don't remember how long it was in, but I remember them stating that the Act 1 at least had a lot more time to be polished. And that's the first thing you're introduced to, and then the second and third act weren't so polished. I'm not saying that they were bad, but they were saying that a lot of lines were broken, a lot of situations weren't working right, and it felt like the acts were rushed.
So I agree. I think Starfield is getting a lot of attention, but also a lot of flack because it's first party exclusive. But at the same time, it is a really good game and does a lot of good stuff. So I think it is going to be a lot of people's list. For me, I don't know if it's going to be my number one, but it's definitely up there so far. But I'll say with Baldur's Gate 3, it's not fair to compare them like you said, but Baldur's Gate 3 does do things that Starfield can't do. And now I understand after playing Starfield, and I don't think it mattered, but Baldur's Gate 3, the interactions are just so complex that a simple Bethesda RPG doesn't work. For example, if you play in Starfield and there's a quest, I want you to solve this problem, you can either buy, spend some money to solve it, you can go somewhere and hack something, or go kill some people, and then you got 3 options to complete the quest. Whereas like Baldur's Gate 3 is the type of game where you can talk to somebody. Well, no, you can start a conversation with one of your characters. You can have your second character leave the room, leave the area, and then go do something. So if you're trying to steal something, have one character talk to him and have the other one go into his house and steal what you want, while you're still in the same conversation. Or it's like, I want you to go kill this bandit, but it's like you can literally go kill the bandit, then talk to the person, and the person won't know that you killed them. You can tell them I already killed them. So it's like the interactions are really complex and they're very flexible. You can do it out of any order. Whereas like normal RPGs, you have to do the quest in the order. There might be different endings or branching paths, but you do the quest in the order. Whereas like Baldur's Gate 3 is not like that. You just do it anyway, and there's always a solution. So that's cool on its own, but that's a different game. Whereas like this game is focusing more on the, I guess, like the atmosphere, but it's more of the long-term interactions, whereas like things continuously to get more and more complex, and the game still works and allows you to adapt. Like people always show the that one GIF online where somebody puts like 10,000 potatoes in its ship. But the game allows that. And it's like, so for me, I've been running out of storage space. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to put my stuff here in the lodge. Or I'm going to put this stuff on a planet where I know where to find it. And that way I can ship stuff back and forth until I'm able to get a bigger ship. And so the game is still complex, but it's focusing on different things. The game is huge, but it wants to be able to support everything equally. And I was going to ask you, was there anything else that you've encountered that you felt you didn't, or I say wants to be improved, or like you didn't like how it was implemented? For me, one of the biggest ones is definitely the UI. Not just the menus, but like managing your partner's inventory and like managing your ship inventory and stuff like that. I feel like a lot of that stuff it doesn't feel finished.
No,
but
it doesn't.
It works.
You don't even have an A button to eat. When they said that on the on their things to fix update, they put out like a little tweet about what they were looking to put ring in, which was DLSS was on there as well, which I was going to talk about a little bit later. But it was the A for eat, because they just press A and then you're technically eating it, but you don't know that because it doesn't even have like A to eat the food. So it's just like those simple things that you like, how did y'all miss that? Even when they were talking about, I think, I know it was another one on there that I was kind of like, huh? Well, the FOV slider was something that people were really like, you know, that's obviously something they need to fix. The HDR and stuff like that, but I know there was like another one where people were kind of up in arms about, and I think it was just that the whole B is held and combined to everything, so you have to like hold B, hold exit, hold it to B to get all the way out, but then you press B to get to like, and it's just so many buttons for the same thing, and it kind of confuses me. But there's plenty of time to kind of clean that up. But yeah, shipping it and then shipping the game in this way isn't a good look for sure, and that's why there's a lot of knocks towards this being game of the year, which, I mean, it makes sense for people to be upset about it, but there's a lot here, and it's definitely not like a cyberpunk situation. It's more of like, these things need to, this makes sense, this is quality of life stuff, fix it. It doesn't make sense for it not to be there. But yeah, I don't know. I think that for me, I don't want to give it, I don't want to say it's just my top game of the year, but it's the best game that I've played. Well, it's the funnest game I've played all year. It's the most innovative to me, as in like, these are things that I know I couldn't do in another game. I don't have an experience like that out there that's similar to it. And it's in a space of its own right now. It's not like something else I can go out and play that I feel like I would get the same experience. There are components of it where I may get experiences better, but to bring it all together in a one package and to be as fundamentally, it's been put together in this way, really, really excites me, especially when I'm just jumping from planet to planet, and I got my crew with me, and we just talking about nothing, and then something happened on the planet, and they talk about it, and or if we are just roaming around and on the planet picking up resources and doing like outpost stuff, and then we get something comes flying by, or a ship comes down, or it's just so, I don't know, it just feels lived in, and it's so barren, but it feels so lived in the spaces that I'm at, that I've have enough content that I never have to see all 1,000 planets, and I still will feel fulfilled. Like I said, I've been playing for 40 hours, and I don't feel like I've seen most of this game yet. And not even from because of the generated content. I'm talking about from the stuff they really made, the stuff they actually truly made for me to play. I don't feel like I've gotten to like, I only got to like 20% of it. And I haven't done that many quests. I've literally just been exploring the world, and it doesn't feel as slow or disengaging as one are led to believe if you read the discourse online. It just feels fun to play. So I will have to reevaluate it as time goes on, just kind of figuring out for myself whether or not I feel like it is going to be a game of the year contender. If I can make the argument in my mind, I know it's probably going to be there, which I can. The argument is simple. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead. No, you were about to answer my question actually.
Yeah, the argument is simple. It's unique, and it's a special game. It has long legs, and more than what they put out at the beginning tells me that they truly took the time with this game to build out a expansive universe that's truly can felt lived in and felt like you are can immerse yourself in. There are the Bethesda things they're few far in between as much as honestly I wouldn't expect, but they're few far in between, but they are there. But this is a once in a while game. I don't want to say once in a generation, but it feels like that. It doesn't feel like I've played anything like this in this generation yet. Last
Yeah, it's a
generation,
very
I don't know.
very immersive. Just because I was thinking like it's a lot of stuff in the game that makes you think about like your own input. Like this is my ship, how
Hmm.
designed it, you customize it, or like you're collecting items and you're spending a lot of time organizing your inventory and like walking
Hmm.
around and like exploring. So you quickly get like immersed and like start building your own like connection to these places. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think it's a very good job of that. Maybe that's the Bethesda magic, whatever. But yeah, like so far, Cydonia on Mars has been my favorite area because like you get there and it's just a mine, but like all the time I spent there and how I helped the characters and how I explored the environment and then walking around the planet with like the music is relaxing and stuff like that. So
I
I
immediately left
quickly
that
feel like,
planet, and that's crazy
oh,
because.
it's a nice planet because I was gonna leave too because I went into the mine and I was just helping people, but then it's like they sent me out to do the quest and
Hmm.
like I just enjoy going back and forth, like going out into the desert of Mars and then coming back. And yeah, it just felt really relaxing, and so I'm hoping that I keep having that experience on every planet. But I
Yeah,
was just gonna quickly say the one or two things that I'm struggling with, like as far as like a little bit disappointment is I don't know how you feel, but so far the companions are okay. I don't have any strong feelings, negative or positive, towards anybody, but they're
yeah,
mostly. I think that's the problem is that they're only okay for me
yeah.
because like a lot of other games, like for example, I always talk about Mass Effect. The best part of Mass Effect is the companions. Like all of
Mhm.
them are unique, and you talk to them all the time. Like every conversation, they have a bunch to say, and multiple of them at the same time, all talking and like helping you out through the story. And like that, you feel like you build a crew on your ship, and you have a strong connection to everybody. So far, I don't have a strong connection to all of the crew people I have. And part of that is because like also the a game very similar to this was Outer Wild, no Outer Worlds.
Outer
See,
Worlds.
I don't even remember. Yeah, Outer Worlds, from Obsidian
Hmm.
on Xbox. Well, it was on everything, but that was a couple 3-4 years ago. It's very similar space game to Starfield, but much smaller in scale. But I think they did a lot better job with the making the companions feel unique.
Right.
Like one of them you get is like literally a priest with a shotgun, and like he'll be in battle, praying for people while shooting them, and it's like that's a very memorable character, and I remember him and I like him.
Hmm.
I guess part of that is that Outer Worlds lean more towards, I guess, being like funny,
Yeah,
whereas
comic.
I think Starfield is pretty straightforward. But
It's
everybody,
grounded. Yeah.
yeah, it's very grounded, but because of that, the characters feel a little more boring, but not in
Yeah.
a necessarily bad way. But they're normal people. They don't have weird quirks.
No, no,
um,
no, no. I don't think there is moments in the game where you kind of see what they were trying to go for, but I don't feel as if I'm super connected to all my companions. There are a few that I enjoy more than others, but there isn't a space where I felt like, oh, the banter between them is going on. Like if you go to a lodge and you kind of sit there and let them talk, sometimes you'll get repeat lines, and I'm just like, that doesn't feel like that
yeah.
great. So Noel, Mateo, they really just sit in the crib. And then
Mm,
it's like Barrett, um, Andrea, and Sarah, and then I'm trying to think his name, Vasco. Yeah, they all can come with you, and then there's like Sam Coe, and his daughter. But there's like dynamics there. I mean, as you go through the story, you'll see some different stuff. Some stuff happens, but overall, I'm okay with it. I'm not like super impressed. But I would say I'm okay with what they have offered me for companionship for now. I think they have some interesting conversations, especially when I make sure I go talk to everybody to see how interesting their characters can be. But that's not something that you normally would do. You know, you don't necessarily have to talk to everybody to make sure you're progressing or engaging with them to get the best out of them. Sometimes they just kind of come pull you to the side and say, "I want to talk to you real quick," or something like that. They do that in this game too, but I feel like it's just it's not as engaging as I thought it would be. Like when I'm on a planet, they might have some key lines for certain things that's happening, but they're very minimal in talking. They're early on. They were talking a lot, and I felt like I was like, well, dang, did I mess up and like hit the wrong buttons? Because they stopped. Like I say, like 20 hours in, they stopped talking to me, bro, and I was kind of like, what's going on here? So yeah, I felt like maybe swapping out your people, and maybe that is how you get the crew to feel, truly lived, or like that they're alive and with you. But I kind of stick with one companion or not, and then it's kind of like that's it. So
yeah. I'm gonna try to switch them out more, but again, that brings in quality of life, where you gotta worry about managing the inventory and what they're holding and stuff like that. But yeah, I can I get that. Maybe switch them out sooner. But yeah, that was the only part that I really felt disappointed in. Like I felt really engaged by the story and all the like faction quests that I've been doing, but the companions are a little bit
the ones like, go ahead. Sorry.
Last. No, I would say most of the game feels like a step forward in a lot of ways from all the other Bethesda games, but the companions feel very similar to what you got in the past. So it's not a huge jump forward so far, at least.
Yeah. And I don't want to sway you between any characters. So like I said, just try them all, see which ones you like, and kind of go from there. But yeah, overall, you're right. I think from what you kind of stated, that's kind of like a nail on the head there. I don't feel like I want to see what happens because of the new game plus and going back and doing things. I want to see what that looks like. But right now, they feel very standard. So we'll see what happens as you continue, But yeah, I think outside of that, again, I guess I want to emphasize that this is a great game, but it's not for everyone. It's kind of like Zelda, even though people pretend like everybody loves Zelda. Some people don't like Zelda. Some people find it to be boring. Some people find it to not be enjoyable, and that it's not engaging enough, because there's literally using your own imagination to kind of play through the game. There's nothing that you can't do. So sometimes that's overwhelming for people, and it doesn't feel like you have enough structure. And maybe that's what's causing people to not like Starfield, even though it's an engaging concept. It may not be as structured as everyone may want it to be, or it may not be as hand-holding as people would enjoy at the beginning hours, so people kind of get turned away. If you are playing this game, I would say take your time, look out for certain interactions, think about consequences to certain things, try to break the game, see what happens. But I find enjoyment in that stuff. So I think you guys would, if you actually, take some time to kind of play it and kind of form your own opinion from there. But yeah, I could definitely make an argument for this game to win Game of the Year, and I wouldn't be mad. But there are a lot of great games that came out. So let's look at I'm gonna go to Mortal Kombat. This
Oh
review in
yeah, Mortal Kombat.
progress is very interesting. I didn't read all of it, but it's kind of like it has more modes than I was expecting. It has some cool things about like this invaders of the realm. But I kind of want to see this stuff in action. But from what I can see here is that this is a good game outside of like the standard stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Uh-huh.
I don't want to I don't want to buy it though. I mean, I got so many games to play right now. It's just tough. But Mortal Kombat 1 does show that they actually, you know, stepped up, and I thought they was because the last one wasn't bad either. So a lot of people were like upset that they were leading with a lot of the story stuff. I was kind of like confused on that. It's heavy on the gameplay, but they have been known for the story now for forever. It's not as if they don't even talk about the gameplay as much as the story anymore. It's like the gameplay isn't. It's not like an afterthought, but we have people that kind of go online and you break that down. They ain't doing that. They just gonna show you some stuff, flashy stuff, but they ain't gonna give you more of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you appreciate them falling more into the world and the story, or did you want them to kind of continue to stay focused on just gameplay? Like, I guess, what's your thoughts on them being focused on story for these games, NetherRealm Studios, Injustice, and Mortal Kombat?
I think that one, they have to be smart and play to their strengths. Like more than 50% of people play. I mean, maybe not 50%, but it's like most people that I know are interested in Mortal Kombat just because they're familiar with the characters in the world. Like they grew up with it or they played other games, and you just come back to see more of that world. And personally, that's what I like as well. But at the same time, I feel like for this game, they've been too holding back too much for the gameplay. Because like I was watching Max talk about the game recently, Max Million Dude, the fighting game guru.
I ain't never heard of him.
About, oh, yeah, I mean you've probably seen his videos, but he's about all fighting games. But he was talking about Mortal Kombat and the coverage of it, where it's like every trailer you get a lot of story, and you get like 1 minute 30 seconds of like gameplay, and like even leading up to the game, there was a bunch of systems in the game like that they couldn't talk about until the review period ended, which is today once the game came out. And so that's like not it's normal with other games like Starfield and stuff like that, but this is a fighting game and you can't really show all the mechanics and things like that until the day the game comes out. It's not very, I guess, good for fighting game players who want to know more deeply about the mechanics. And so I would say they could stand to do better, because I think that the big perception of Mortal Kombat is the gameplay is not as polished as other fighting games like Street Fighter. And with them not putting it at the forefront, it doesn't feel like maybe they don't also feel as confident in the gameplay as like other fighting games. Because like Street Fighter 6 didn't have to have a story. It's like our mechanics and our gameplay is just so good, we believe in it. But I don't think that Mortal Kombat necessarily thinks of themselves like that.
No.
But I mean, that's fine. They can have their own niche. They're still successful and they're really good at the story. But they got to do more with the gameplay, I think.
Mm-hmm. So they saying that this tag system is well thought out, in that it does a lot to improve on the foundation that it stands on. But so I mean, it's like I said, this review in progress is giving it a lot of praise. To me, Mortal Kombat always felt more arcadic than anything. And I guess that's because I was so used to playing Tekken and Street Fighter. those are a little bit more technical games that just, it's all about your movement and spacing, and that ain't this. Mortal Kombat is kind of like more forgiving, and I think once I started to realize that, I kind of gravitated more towards Street Fighter a lot more, and like Soul Calibur, and games like that. But overall, I mean, I have no problem playing Mortal Kombat. I actually find the combat enjoyable, and this is the very first one I was introduced to. Back when I was playing Mortal Kombat 4 a lot. So I mean, that was like on a Nintendo 64, I think. So it was that was my first introduction to Mortal Kombat anyway. So, and I truly enjoyed it. So I really don't want to knock it for being more arcadic because that is something that I enjoy and liked. But for me, there is a tough sell when it comes to fighting games, simply because of the amount of time and the passion or competitiveness that I kind of gear towards it. I have no competitiveness in Mortal Kombat. I never go online to play in Mortal Kombat. I don't find that to be the bread and butter. I find the story more so now to be the bread and butter, and then playing with people when they come over, just so I can brush up on a few skills that I had previously. So I do use a lot of previous history with the game, so I don't want them to change anything, to kind of continue to be okay with it or okay at it, because I don't really go in and deep dive. I think the most recent character I started playing with was Aaron Black, from the last game, and that was a big step because I used to always play with just Scorpion. So it's just having that familiarity, and I think that this game nails that, but it also just takes it to a new level. The production, everything, bro. I feel like they really just nailed it. So it does come out tomorrow, and we will see if I have a copy or not. But hopefully, I just met it past because I got plenty of stuff to play. Liza P will be coming out soon. I think it's tomorrow too, if I'm not mistaken. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit as well. But I'm happy that they're actually showing that this game is probably gonna be good, and it was well worth the wait. I think, at least from the looks of it, well worth the wait. But yeah, what do you?
I think I was gonna. Oh, go ahead. You can ask your question.
I was just going to ask, what do you think about them going straight back to Mortal Kombat versus like going to Injustice like they normally do?
So I think it's cool. They set up a lot of good stuff with Mortal Kombat 11, and continuing that makes sense. I personally am tired of the same Injustice story. If it's DC focused, I personally want it to be like a new story, so they're not limited to like evil Superman versus Batman. It could just be a DC focused fighting game, or like, oh, we're gonna do Flashpoint, Nether Realms, or something like that. But I think that's gonna be their next step, because they have the DC fighting game IP on lock. So there's more of that to explore.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I was thinking they were going to keep going back and forth, like Call of Duty or something. But
it might not be ready yet, with the DC stuff, and like they don't know who Superman is going. Well, they have a Superman now, but they don't know what DC wants, and DC might be like, wait a little bit.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say, as far as the Mortal Kombat 1, it does have a lot of microtransactions. You can buy glasses for characters. You can buy masks and gloves and stuff. They're all on the store. It has multiple currencies. Some of them you can get from playing the game. Some of them you don't get from. Some of them you got to buy. And then they have, so far it's free, but they do have character specific progression, like not like a full battle pass, but it's like level up Scorpion and you get Scorpion related stuff. I don't know if that means they're going to add more to it later, because right now it's only 10 levels, and you can get 10 levels within like, maybe 10 hours or so. But all that to be said, the game is expensive, and they also have expensive cosmetics on the store. So just be mindful of that.
Be aware of that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's not good. But we'll see. We'll see what they say. Like I said, I really want the reviews to kind of be finalized and kind of talk through it. Kind of really understand the mechanics. I know they were mentioning the whole invasions and being able to unlock stuff through that, but it's kind of grindy. So we'll see how that works and whether or not it's comparable or at least rewarding to try and go about it that way versus not, All right. Well, that is Mortal Kombat. Let's talk about Lies of P. Oh boy. So if you guys don't remember, Lies of P is the Pinocchio Souls-like.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I played the demo, nobody else did, I don't think. I thought the demo was cool. I thought it looked like really interesting and intriguing, and they had like a very good understanding of what a Souls-like game should be, and they had a deep understanding of what their world would look like. So the art style, the music, but I know Josh kind of what did you call this man? You said the
Timothy Chalamet Souls.
Yeah. What was the name of the actor? I forget his name now.
Oh, Timothy. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah,
he's in Dune. He's in other stuff. But I mean, he looks just like him.
He said, "You talk about that Timothy? You talk about that Timothy Souls like?" I said, first off, I didn't even put it together until I looked at his face. I said, "This man he do got that flourishing hair in the wind right now." But yeah, it's basically a Pinocchio story and Dark Souls-esque style. It has the same equipment layout, the same UI. And honestly, it feels good to play. It has some of the mechanics of, fight, to get your life back and being able to retrieve that by staying aggressive. The boss fights were interesting and intriguing when I first played it. And a lot of that kind of stayed true throughout the entire game, because a lot of the reviewers were kind of mentioning that. A lot of people were giving it 9s, some people were giving it 8, some people were giving it a 5. But overall, what I thought was going to happen is that they were going to have a good story and they were going to be a good clone. And that's kind of what this reviews are telling me, is that it's a good story, or at least better than normal of what you would get in these types of games. And it's a good clone, as in that gameplay loop is actually fulfilling and fun to play. And they have some like mechanics where you can change the hilt, kind of like they do in Bloodborne. Like I said, they kind of copied, but if you copy good and you make a good, scenery and you build the world around it in a great way, I really don't have a problem with that. So this is one of those Game Pass games that I was definitely going to give a shot, and I think I still am. I just had to find the time to kind of play it, but overall, it's another solid game that's come out this year. I don't know if it's going to be better than Lords of the Fallen. These are two of the games I'm looking out for to kind of see which one's going to take that genre of. Do they usually just go with action RPGs, like these types of games, or no? Do they?
Yeah, I mean, people call them Souls-like, but technically it's just action RPG. But
so they'd probably be facing off with Final Fantasy.
Also, yeah, like Uncharted, this, and Final Fantasy, they would all get stuck in the same category.
Wow, interesting. Well, yeah. So I was thinking maybe they were gonna be battling back and forth, head to head between them and Lords of the Fallen, but I guess it's probably gonna be more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm glad good games are coming out. I think it's gonna give me a lot more time to kind of build up the back catalog. I don't know what next year is going to bring, but I don't think any year going to become close to this year in amount of content and amount of quality that we've received. I still ain't played Diablo. I still ain't played Dead Space. I still haven't played so many games. I still ain't finished Jedi Survivor, which we're gonna talk about that a little bit because they got an update. But there's plenty of games that have come out that are truly just like, wow. And I think this year kind of can be summed up as the makeup year for COVID. COVID kind of crushed a lot of people's dreams.
We're not getting COVID like games that got stuck in development. We're getting games that started after COVID and were fully like cooked and planned after that. So it's good.
Yeah, for sure.
What I was gonna say about Liza P is that it seems interesting. I'm glad it's getting good impressions because for those games, it's always like I would expect people to drop it. It's like, oh, it's a 6. It's okay, but it's not like anything to check on. But it being an 8 or around there, it's good. I might check it out in the future. It's just for me, Bloodborne is not my favorite Souls game, and I don't really play Bloodborne for the story, so I'm not like really drawn to Lies of P because of those reasons. I played it mostly because it was from software and it was fun. So when I have time at some point, I'll check it out on Game Pass. But yeah, I'm too busy with all this other stuff that came out.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'm supposed to be the one that don't really like these types of games, but I kind of I'm pulled towards them for the challenge and the unique style of gameplay. So, but yeah, Liza P, check it out. It's super flashy, got some cool stuff, and it's on Game Pass if you got Game Pass. So next up, we're going to talk about Jedi Survivor, and essentially, they recently just got an update. It's not really like a big update or anything like that. It's kind of like they took a feature out in order for it to run better. So they did have ray tracing in there, and they bit off too much more than they can really handle for the performance mode. Performance mode never ran at 60. It was always around like 40, 50. But they basically pulled out ray tracing in the performance mode, which allowed it to go to 60 FPS. There is some things that have occurred because of that, so it is rock solid 60 throughout the entire game now, at least from people's findings. But there is some situations where you get some artifacting around puddles or large bodies of water. Basically, it kind of broke the illusion, and it kind of, as you're panning through it, it just feels like it's just broken graphics. It's like it's all blocks. It doesn't it's like, say for instance, you're looking at the water through a bunch of grass. The grass will now take on the shade of the water, so now it looks like it's just broken and pixelated all over the screen. So there is a problem with them just removing the ray tracing because it was supposed to fix the FSR artifacting and some of the it's not anti-aliasing, but it's like a different type of feature, but I can't remember. I think it's the anti-stropic filtering, but I could be wrong in that. But it's what fixes when two things interact with one another, and there is a plane or a field or a graphic that is supposed to sit plainly, and I forget what they're called now, but they're like baked in. I'm not Digital Foundry. Never claimed to be. But what I do know is that these things are showing up and they're kind of basically causing, and they're very intrusive and bad looking. But if you can get past
Screen
that,
space.
screen space inclusion.
Reflection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get past that, you will have a 60 FPS mode. But I think I'm still opt for play that 30 with the ray tracing and kind of leave it on. I kind of got used to 30 FPS, but I know if I go to 60 FPS, I'm probably going to try to stick to 60. So I'm just not mess with nothing and continue to play it at 30 as I was, because I felt like it was responsive enough and I didn't feel like I was, having problems. But that isn't even the biggest news. But we're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the update, Josh? Did you buy this game yet or no?
No, I haven't bought it yet because when it came out, it ran okay on consoles. People were saying it's the best way to play, but it still had some issues like the performance mode and stuff. But since then, I'm interested in it. I like the first game a lot. I'm just waiting for the performance to get stable enough to see where I'm gonna play it. But then when removing the ray tracing, I think is a good idea for a performance mode, because with the performance mode, you're saying you accept some cutbacks for more performance, and so the ray tracing, the game was built with it from the ground up, and then removing it is going to cause some issues. I think that I hope that they can fix the screen space reflection situation, because screen space reflections are not necessarily bad, but they have to be hand placed and hand adjusted to look right, because the screen place reflection just basically is like the game will make a quick, like, simple panoramic photo of the environment and then use that as your reflections. But like, depending on the game and how many reflective surfaces, it might not look good like by default, so you have to really adjust it. So it right now, it doesn't seem like they spent the time to fully make it look good. So I think they should fix that, but overall it's good to have a performance mode that runs well, because the game will benefit from it. It'll be more smooth, and it's a pretty long game, so you might feel better after long play sessions. But yeah, I say it's unfortunate that it came out in the way that it did, where we have these issues, because it's Unreal Engine. But I feel like they have the tools to fix it. It's just, they didn't.
I think EA got a little bit in the way here, but there was like a whole lot about how, when they put the publication out, and like what something is when it's gold and when it gets to the actual storefront, and how they kind of implement it there. It's too complicated for me to understand, but I do know that some people can get it done. So you just have to get it done, whatever the case may be. But overall, I haven't played it completely yet, but the time I have played it, I truly enjoyed it. So I do know that they have a great package here, and I think this story is going to be phenomenal when I get around to it. But right now, all I can say is that I'm glad they're still working on it, and I'm glad that they are still taking the initiative to make sure this game is running well. But specifically, they need to fix the PC version. And I think that's probably the one that really is still out there as the problem child, as the consoles are pretty much set with a 30 FPS and 60 FPS mode now. They need to clean up a little bit of that screen space reflections and how they kind of break that stuff. But I think that they need to kind of clean that up. But overall, we're in a good space now to, if you want to jump in, you can. But another thing came out today, and it was that the director of Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, Stig Asmussen, is leaving EA. And he simply said to pursue other Avengers. And that tells me he ain't like what's going on, or something going on over there. But this is the individual that led these two games that I truly liked through Respawn. So, which I wasn't aware of what he did, but he was the individual that had been working in the gaming industry for 25 years. But he worked on the original 3 God of Wars with Santa Monica. He was serving as lead environmental artist, then the art director, and then he was finally just a creative director on God of War 3. So that tells me he has some stuff. He knew some stuff. And God of War 3 being one of those games, him being the creative director of that, I can understand and see how it can be transferred over to a Star Wars universe, and the cinematics and things like that, the real bombastic, top of the line, crazy moments. It did. After I think about it, when I look back at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can get how he was, how he want everything to be larger than life. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy to me. He joined them in 2014 to kind of do the Star Wars Fallen Order, and then which came out in 2019, and then obviously the next one came out this year, and that was Jedi Survivor. But he's left now. What does that tell me about EA? I mean, I already know. I mean, but I'm kind of worried because I honestly, I think Respawn is like a shell of itself at this point. I think they're pimping them out, and they don't really have like the original team that really are creative and truly know what how creativity works, because it feels like a lot of these Respawn had a great thing going, and they just did not have to be bought up by this company. Titanfall, we haven't seen it. We haven't heard of it. They keep milking Apex Legends every chance they get for microtransactions for every cosmetic skin in the world, and they haven't even fixed the underlying game yet. They just seem to have hit a spot where their success is too shielding. I'm not saying that Stig leaving is any indicator of anything. He could have personal reasons. Obviously, just to pursue other adventures seems very weird. But he could be just, I'm done. I did my time. I got my 2 games out. I'm over it. I mean, that could be simple enough. But from me looking in, I can tell, or at least I can wander. And really what I wonder is how long, Respawn, when the next game comes out, when the next situation occurs, what is Respawn going to look like? What are they working on next? And like I said, this is my favorite studio. I love everything they do. To an extent, of course. Apex Legends was a great game at its core, and then it became a money making machine, which is fine. But I only value it for what the core was, and once that core is kind of broken, I really don't find the need to continue to play and support, because they have plenty of people playing and supporting, and they don't really necessarily need individuals that truly were interested in their solid gameplay. They just need people that be interested in their characters. Not saying that they don't try, but they're failing to me. But this, coming out, these games gave me a glimpse of hope. And even though it did come out in a bad state, they're trying to right the ship, obviously, and they're trying to make sure that these games truly have legs to live on. But yeah, I'm kind of worried. I'm not going to lie. It seems as if there's going to be a big shift to me. Might be a big shift coming up soon, where we're going to see another one of those. When they first did it from Infinity Ward and made Respawn gonna break off and make another whatever they want to call it at this point from the original people that was on Respawn. I hate that it happens, but I think that's what's going to happen. Pursue Other Ventures seems very weird to me. I don't know if he's going to be making another God of War game, but it just seems so weird. Like, he has nothing in plan. He don't want to be done with it. I guess he's been in the gaming industry for 25 years, but seems weird.
Yeah. So I don't, know the whole story with Respawn, but yeah, being part of EA, the big company, there's always going to be like some mandates or focuses. Like, we want, Respawn to focus on Apex Legends and increasing profits, and that's like what we want you to do. And that's, it's not necessarily always a bad thing because the company has to, make profit. But at the same time, for creative individuals and people who are really talented at Respawn, that will limit their ability to do what they're good at. And some things change over time. Like, it might be bad at first, but improve, or might be really good and then get worse. So, whatever happened with him at Respawn, he made 2 good games, and whatever he does next will probably be good too. But yeah, like you said, I hope that whatever happens at Respawn going forward, they still have the freedom and creativity to make what they want. Because I think that's one of the reasons why Bungie keeps hopping around, because they want to have the creativity to do what they want. Because it is profitable. Just having a good idea. But companies also will focus on how to milk that idea for all it's worth, and that's not good.
Yeah, like I still want to have games like Jedi Survivor come out. I don't really want to just you guys become become like another Apex machine, and it's just that's it. So we'll see what happens there. But it's not looking great, at least from my perspective. Somebody just left, but still not great. All right, let's talk about these 2, announcements that came out today. Where we got State of Play for tomorrow, where they're going to be focusing on indie games and third-party releases. What do you think we're going to see here outside of Call of Duty?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just gonna be games for this year. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and whatever big titles that come out the rest of this year.
Probably gonna get some Destiny stuff for Final Shape.
Oh, Destiny, yeah. I mean, I don't think it should be anything really new. Like, it should be all games that we've seen before. Maybe you might see a trailer there, so some new mechanics or whatever they're doing, but it's going to be stuff that's familiar, which is fine. But I think for State of Play, a lot of people are hoping for more, but they got to set those expectations. Third party only. But yeah,
they gonna talk about Spider-Man.
Oh, they're gonna
VR.
They might talk about a handheld.
That garbage handheld. They need to do a price cut right now. With 150, maybe, but at the same time, I already got a PlayStation Portable. It's called a Steam Deck.
But honestly, I've been looking into the like handheld streaming market since that thing was announced. Just because, like, it'd be cool to have a small device that's just pick up and stream when I don't necessarily want to use my Steam Deck. But even the $150 market is like, you get some really good Android devices for $150. It's like you can do a whole lot more than just streaming with an Android device.
I know.
So I don't know who this thing is for.
Me neither, dude. Me neither.
Because in the same price point, Logitech has the same thing, but it's Android, and you can play,
do so much more.
And being locked to the PlayStation ecosystem is.
Yeah, and it has Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to say in 2023. It doesn't have Bluetooth. But yeah, like, this is not a good idea. And I'm okay with continuously expanding on my Steam Deck to allow me to do those things. I do want a better screen, of course, but I'm able to live with it for now. But yeah, state of play. I just think we're gonna get some VR stuff. We're gonna talk about Spider-Man. I don't know if they're gonna probably talk about anything new like Wolverine, maybe, but they said that they're gonna focus on updates on to previously announced games coming to PlayStation. So maybe they talk about something that they talked about in because they can't just talk about PlayStation. That's just ridiculous, but they could. And then PSVR 2. Then they're gonna talk about some third party stuff, which is probably gonna be Call of Duty, Destiny, Assassin's Creed. And that's gonna wrap it in like 44 minutes or something like that. I'm more interested in Nintendo. Do you or do you not think they're gonna show off this Nintendo Switch too?
I don't know if they will, but what I can say is I hope that they do. Yeah, people are saying like, when the first Switch dropped, they just did like a quick announcement, and it's going to come out next year. I think that they can do a similar thing, at least talk about the device because people at this point know it exists. Your Gamer talked about they saw it at where was it? Gamescom. Nintendo was showing it to people at Gamescom. It's like, this is what we got. It seems to have a big NVIDIA-led like development, helping out with development because before it really just seems like NVIDIA provided the parts, but they didn't have any say in like how it's utilized.
Right, but they want that technology. They want that technology to show. They want to show it off. They want to beat AMD.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's driving them to be really hands-on with it, and I like that because I like competition. Always have, always will. But I kind of want to see what they can do with another handheld. And I have no problem. It's been since 2017. I have no problem giving them another $400. I just ain't got nothing to buy. So it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for them to do something. So.
Yeah, and even still, there are a lot of good games. Zelda just came out this year, and having a better way to officially play it will be nice.
Amazing.
Personally, I kind of wish that they not necessarily delayed Zelda, but they could have synced up the release a little bit better. But if backwards compatibility and all your account stuff moves over seamlessly, I would have no issue, like you said, spending more money on another Nintendo device.
They definitely hurt Zelda. Like, to me, it took it out the game of the year running for me because it just felt so outdated. And even when I was trying to play with Karina, because I'm playing on the original Nintendo Switch, I can see the stutters, I can see the lag, the delays. I'm just like, what the heck is this, man? This is how y'all put this game out? This game that is supposed to really be the console seller for y'all? But I get it. They wanted to put that out again on the already built in player base, already built in sales units. They don't want to kind of force people to buy something new, which makes sense. I mean, but they could have did a Switch version and they could have did a Switch 2 version, but Nintendo, they just want people to focus on buying what they have and get those dollars. But I feel like it definitely hurt my experience. So I'm hoping for a new, updated, refreshed console to truly go through that game the right way and kind of play it the way I want to play it. But yeah, I had to. It's just I like some of the stuff that they did when the continuation. I let Karina play on my profile, so she's had all my older horses and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, whatever, because I'm like, I'm waiting. I don't want to play it in that terrible state, so I was like, I'll wait. So yeah, and it's just gonna be what it is. But it did definitely hurt it. I'm even though I was playing it with Karina and like watching her and doing stuff and all that good jazz, it still definitely hurt my perspective on that game from launch because I was just like, this looks muddy, it's not great, and I know you guys can do better. So hopefully we see something better. I don't know if they spoke about, let me see. Yeah, they spoke about it and they said that there's basically going to be talking about the winter games, and it will start at 10 a.m. tomorrow. The games they currently have announced are Detective Pikachu, Super Mario, Super NES, like Super Mario RPG, and then they got some Princess Peach game. But man, am I hoping for the Switch 2 to be announced? But we'll see. I won't get my hopes up too far, but that's my hope. And lastly, let's finish it up with the iPhone 15 Pro. Resident Evil running at 30 FPS on the phone, Josh. Are we in the future? Is this the future, Josh? Are we going to be
future?
Are we going to be gamers on phones?
I think that it's cool to have it, but then you just got to invest in another ecosystem, spend another. It might be full price on the iPhone. Who knows? Since it's a full game. But I'll say it's cool. Personally, I don't look to mobile devices for console games. I'll look for uniquely made mobile game because I like Wild Rift, which is the League of Legends game, more mobile exclusive. And there are a lot of like exclusive games that utilize the device where you play for a short session, and the device can push the hardware and the graphics to do cool stuff. Personally, I would never play Resident Evil on my phone. I would play it on the TV, on a PS4,
But they got HDR.
PS5, whatever.
But they got HDR and ray tracing.
Yeah, and it's gonna last for 30 minutes in your body. Or it's gonna be plugged in. That mug gonna be on fire.
Man,
Battery go.
But I mean, it's cool to see what the device can do. But yeah, mobile games, I feel like they can't fully utilize that. I mean, other than like Genshin Impact, because like y'all don't play Genshin Impact, but like that's a mobile design game, but somehow they make a big world like Breath of the Wild, and people enjoy it, but still, I feel like that's a different experience that is optimized for the phone. But these mobile ports, I'm personally not interested. But it's cool. It looked good.
yeah. My thought is that I like the accessibility of being able to game on certain things, but I still prefer a traditional experience at this point. I truly can't get used to turning my phone into a plaything. I don't know. It's kind of it feels the same way I was doing with the PC, where I need an ecosystem to kind of like truly feel immersed. So it kind of puts it off for me. So yeah, that's where I kind of like the Steam OS on my PC. I love to turn it on when I'm trying to play anything on my Steam OS. I like to try to push everything through Steam now, just like on my Steam Deck. And then on my phone, I haven't figured out anything for that yet. So I don't feel like it's a gaming device. I feel like it's truly just meant for me to, it's a social media machine plus phones and text. So I haven't gotten to that perspective yet. I mean, I got a Vita, I got my Steam Deck. I don't really think I need another true always on me, but it's always, as everybody said, the best camera is the camera you have. Best gaming device is the gaming device you got. So I'm happy that some people could truly play through entire Assassin's Creed Mirage if they were crazy enough to on their phone. I find that to be quite interesting, and as things get stronger and faster and better, and I think I think there is no reason for this stuff to not get to evolve and become better and better and better. So I'm looking forward to a future,
especially with because I forgot that. So the new iPhone is switching over to USB-C.
Yep.
But that's because the European Union,
they
one of their
forcing
government
everybody.
bodies, whatever. Yeah, they forcing all tech companies to standardize to a single input device. So you don't got Lightning anymore from the iPhone. That being said, they also, I don't know if it was the same time or it came later, ruled that Apple's going to have to let you install other storefronts at some point. Like it can't be a fully locked ecosystem on iOS.
Yep.
So you might be able to put another app installer on your phone. If that does come to fruition and it opens up the ecosystem, then you might see iPhones who have all this power be able to do other stuff that's Apple wouldn't let you do before. So that would be cool. But yeah, that's
if
a
I
future.
could run Android on an iPhone, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I it's not amazing to the extent because I like my Google stuff. I love the Google ecosystem, but it's kind of like their ecosystem is flexible, not Apple's.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could dual boot or something like that, that'd be interesting to see how that works out.
Is you finna get one of these iPhones? Cause you got one of the iPhones, don't you?
No, I sold that one. I think I traded in, but I was planning on either getting a 15 or 15 Max, potentially for just video recording and editing, but I think that'll be a waste. Because I'd rather have because I don't really need the Pro. I just need to be able to shoot 4K 60 without feeling as if my phone's gonna overheat, because it has a very bad problem with overheating, these Android phones. So I don't even shoot in 4K anymore. I shoot at 1080 and 1080 60, which is still fine. It doesn't look terrible, but I was like, why the heck I can't use all the functionality of my phone? That's what made me mad. So I was thinking about it simply for the videography of aspect. So but yeah, I might pick up a Max just because I like the size and it's getting close to time to upgrade. But mainly I like the finish, the titanium finish. I think is really nice. There's not a lot of phones with that. Yeah.
Then again, I'm waiting till my 11 Pro stops working because there's really feature wise and there's nothing I care about with the new one.
No,
There's an extra
exactly.
button.
Yeah, it's more so probably going to go through T-Mobile, do that whole just iPhone for free, trade in another phone situation. It just inflates your bill technically, but then they give you a credit for the year. So it's not like because I'm not even going to switch my SIM over to it. It's really going to be one of those situations where I have two phones, both of them are paid off. I can sell one of my old ones, and more than likely they give me like $800 off or something like that. Whereas it's not expensive, but it's just replacing my Android phone that was expensive to get a better camera. So we'll see. I would never, like I said, I don't need a phone. I don't need these things. I have my phone. I enjoy my phone. I don't know if I'm gonna upgrade the Google one yet, because I don't really feel like I need to. And until I see what they kind of have to offer, like this right here, these 15 Pros and stuff like that, they didn't move the needle because I recently purchased Karina's 14 Pro. This didn't move the needle for me to be like, oh, she needs this at all. And I don't think it's going to move the needle until like the 16 or 17. So probably the 17. So I don't really care. But
Yeah.
For me, the Max might be beneficial. So
I don't feel like they ever move the needle. I mean, you got all those jokes where they keep doing the same thing over and over. I'm happy that more coming out just because my battery health stays service. Like, they don't even give a percentage no more. It just stays service. So I'm like, I need a new phone.
jeez.
And it ain't like I'm getting it for like a feature or nothing like that. I just simply want a new battery. That's the only reason I want it.
You ain't got no warranty on that thing?
Probably not. I mean, I had the phone since I got a 12 and I had it since somewhere between like I just say fall after September, like fall 2020. So I'm due for a new phone. I was due for a new phone back in June, but I just ain't never upgraded because I'm all the way for another phone come on. So
Gotcha.
my battery cut.
Nah, that makes sense. You getting the Pro or you just gonna get the 15?
I don't know. I'm tempted to get the cheaper one, but it depends on how they do the store credit stuff for that when you trade the phone in. If they gonna pay it all off and stuff like that, I might as well just go ahead and get the whichever one
I
they
can
gonna
tell
take
you
care
that
of.
the 15 is a good phone. The 15 is a good phone. From what I was seeing, the 15 actually had the better upgrade. The Pro, really not really. Unless you're like super into camera stuff, you're not gonna be able to like, because they have all the functionality. There's like certain things where like the USB-C bust, like there's a speed difference between how fast you can move data. You get up to 10 gigabits per second on this new USB-C bust on the Pro, and then you get like 4 gigabits per second on the original that you would get with a Thunderbolt. So if you're not moving like tons of data a lot, it really, that's one of the big features. And then the Pro also has like the it's like the
Refresh rate.
camera. I don't even think it's the refresh rate.
Uh,
I would have to verify that. I don't. I know that the pros are the only ones that can natively run the games. But that ain't no. Like I said, I don't know who is gonna buy a pro for that. So like I said, the pro is not the one that actually did anything. So if you're better off getting a 14 Pro if you want a Pro, but if you want the 15, in my opinion, it's the one with the dynamic island now. It gives you everything that you possibly were missing out on previously if you didn't get a Pro. So that's why I'm saying the 15 is the one that is more enticing, and it's going to be cheaper, of course. So I watched it. I was like, I watched the whole thing. I was like, I'll watch it, and because I'm just interested in technology, but yeah. But you
I'm more
should
so
check it
care
out for
about the
yourself.
battery life, so
Yeah,
I looked at a
check
little
out
bit
the
into
Max.
it, but
The Max is the
it
one
was
that usually gives you the best battery life anyway. Check out that Max because they have a, as you stated, I don't think it's refresh rate. I think it's the resolution of the screen. That's what I think it is. I think the refresh rate are the same, but I think the resolution of the screen is different, and that's why the Max always gives you better battery life.
that's which one you got. You got the 11 Pro Max or just the regular one?
I have the 11 Pro Max. I always get the Max because I'm just interested in the size. I mean, I do use the camera stuff, family, but I'm not a professional videographer, so it's mainly I want the big screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't be wanting my phone to be too big, so but I'm gonna consider it though. I think it's like maybe like an inch bigger or something like that. So.
Yeah, and they fit it into like the same. They fit into like a smaller silhouette because they're thinner bezels now. So you should check out the Max if you like in store, see how I feel. But okay, that's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys for listening as always. We will talk to you all next time. We got through a lot of stuff today. As usual, I'm glad you guys got to this point. If you got here, you're the real OG. Thank you guys for listening. Always check us out on Spotify, Google, Apple, YouTube, wherever you see my face. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you all next week. Peace.